What's the haps? I'm John, aka Meroka, and welcome to Spiel. We are in the Sapphire Phantom Gate this week, which I'm not actually sure whether it's Gremlin or Construct. It seems to be a little of both, and since the two tend to go hand in hand, it could. I think we're going to see plenty of both. Gremlins tend to follow Constructs around a good amount of the time, and vice versa. So they will both appear in great numbers. But the gates, if you actually look at the gate listings, it's like some of them are just listed as specifically Gremlin floors, some of them are listed as Constructs. Not really sure what's actually going on with this particular gate. A little bit strange. But hey-ho, I can fight them. A lot of the gates all seem to be very, very similar, actually, in theme this week. So there wasn't a lot of variety in the options, to be honest. So I think you're getting this one way or another. This was what it was destined to be. I picked the one with the least, what are they called? Compounds, that's the word. That one eluded me for a moment. I hate them so much I forgot what they were called. Compounds. I wanted to call them constructs, but no, that's what we will fight. Right, so let's, there's not a lot of Spiral Knights news to do so much, because, well, the big news was already covered. You will be aware that Apocrypha was a thing, hopefully, because I put out a video last week. That has already been and gone. That was a very, very short thing. That was a one-week event, for whatever reason. Three Rings couldn't be bothered to do the whole thing, or something, I don't know. Feeling lazy? It takes a lot more effort to run an event for 2 weeks, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know. Why they would, when it takes so much effort to actually make the things in it, why they would run that for 1 week, I'm not certain, but I guess it's kind of... There wasn't anything especially new in it, so maybe it's just for people who are sort of halfway through building some of the stuff and wanted just an extra week somewhere along the line, just to fill in the gaps and create whatever things you were missing from your weapons and whatnot. So yeah, that was another opportunity if you wanted to get those. I hope you took that opportunity. I already had the 3 weapons, and I have absolutely no interest in trying to spend 1 week grinding for that aura. Good lord, that sounds like a horrifying task. Not that I particularly care for the aura anyway, so yeah, that's done, that's over, that finished. Hope you got out of it what you wanted out of it. Now, another thought that comes to mind is that with it being a 1 week job, it could be they had something else interesting lined up for this week. Maybe, or maybe that's just the optimist in me. Either way, one thing I did forget to mention in the notes, not that it was a big deal, not that you're all hanging on the edge of your seat waiting for me to mention this. There was a prize box, the Apocrypha prize box was back, so if you wanted the Apocrypha style HUDs and whatnot, the weird, dark, shadowy cloak type gear, yeah, those were options that you could have had a go at snagging, and there's probably a bunch on the auction house at a not awful price, I would imagine. But the longer you leave it, the more awful the price will become. So if you want one and you can get one, go get one. That would be my advice to you. If you want it, do it. So yeah, that's Spiral Knights news for this week. And we shall see where things take us after this, because like I say, that was kind of weird that it was only 1 week. I do feel like, is there something else in store? I don't know. Could there be new events in store for us this year? Maybe. I can only hope so. That would be awesome. But, nonetheless, let's move on to other news. Other news! I have more sort of, again, personal news, kind of things going on in my life. People who are subscribed to my Patreon, my patrons, my lovely, lovely patrons, I love them greatly. My patrons will possibly know if they've watched the video from last week, which was a Viscera Cleanup Detail, the Patreon-exclusive video. That I had a job interview last Wednesday, which was kind of a bit of a weird one. Actually, did I mention that in the video last week? I may have done, so you may know as well, actually. That was kind of went a bit weird. Normally, interviews are a bit more tense and stressful, and that was just kind of having a friendly chat about what they did and how awesome it sounded. Because basically there's a bar opening up in town, and it is going to be attached to a brewery, and the brewery will provide the beer for the bar. Now, which routes have I explored here? Which way did I come in? Did I come in? I thought I came in from the left. No, I came in from up here, didn't I? So let's go look for loot. Because I could see the exit over to the right. So let's see what else is in store. So yeah, there's a bar opening up in town, and it's kind of, I think it's a trendy, modern kind of thing where they're going to be trying to do interesting and exciting things, and they're going to have a wide range of excellent beers on, which is very important. They're going to be getting some good coffee in, which is also very important. They didn't mention tea, but I'm sure if I have any say in what goes down, I will probably convince them to do some tea as well. So that'll be a thing. Yay, good tea, good coffee, good beer. 3 important drinks in life. They're also planning to do good whiskey, but whiskey is not my particular forte. It's not something I especially care for, so I am not in a good place to judge high-quality whiskies, I'm afraid. So I hope someone else is. Yes, if you enjoy your whiskies, congratulations. I'm not one of those people that does. But there you go. So yeah, I got that job. I got a phone call back on Friday saying, hey, you seemed really enthusiastic and really into the stuff we're doing. And it's like, yes, you're doing good beer and good coffee, and it's a really cool sounding place, and I get involvement with a brewery. Yes, I'm enthusiastic about that. So yay! I have a job offer for that one. So that should be a thing that starts in a few weeks. Now, obviously, that will impact you guys a little bit in a strange kind of way. Not a particularly strange kind of way, in a fairly standard kind of way, in the way that it tends to impact things when I'm trying to make videos around having a full-time job. You'll remember the last time that happened, which was last summer through to autumn-ish time. I'm not terribly happy with the kind of content I got put out during those few months, which, I don't know, is a cause for concern. However, I'm kind of feeling like maybe this is going to be a schedule I can work around. I'm hoping it is. Because obviously it's going to be mostly evening stuff. I could then potentially use the daytime to do my glasswork, as well as... I want to use it? Yes, I do want to do that. I wasn't sure if I was just forging the wrong thing for a second there. Yay, leveled up. Cool. So I got my time to make videos and do my glasswork and things, and then potentially have a job on the side as well. So that could work out quite nicely for me, I'm thinking. Could go down quite well. Could be good. It sounds fun. You know, I think that's the most important thing of jobs for me. It's like, if you're not enjoying a job, it just kind of sucks, and you're just looking forward to the weekend all the time. It's just like, oh, when can I stop working? And it's like, that's not a good way to go through life. Just hating your job and wishing you weren't doing your job all the time. It's just not a great way to live one's life, I don't think. I think a fairly important part is finding a job you can enjoy and be passionate about. And whilst, yeah, it's bartending, it's not going to be... It's hardly the height of elegance, it's not some prestigious, high-powered, high-paying job, some managerial or skilled work. It's bartending. But it sounds like it's going to be in a really cool, fun environment, where I will potentially get some creative input. It sounds like a thing I want to be a part of, and as I say, because it's attached to the brewery, there will be a great deal of involvement with that, and that is an industry I would be interested in sort of being a part of. Learning how to make beer properly, because I've done some homebrewing stuff before, and it was not great. It was experimental, I guess, is what it was. So yeah. So, we'll see how that one plays out. I'm hoping I can maintain doing decent video content for you whilst I'm working. Because I'm also hoping to hang on to this job for longer than my last few jobs at any rate. The last few jobs I've had have not worked out terribly well for a great length of time, unfortunately. So I'm hoping I can hang on to this and enjoy it, and find time to do the things that I love. For your sakes, as well as mine. Because that makes life good for everybody. But we shall see, we shall see, we shall see how the cookie crumbles, and wait, what? I just walked back a long way. How strange. So with that out of the way, let us do some questions, some things that people have submitted to me to talk about this week, things that you have submitted. So, The Lonely Knight asked very recently, actually, I think they posted this just yesterday, which is, do you have any tips for a let's play of Spiral Knights for newbies that have never made a video? Are you talking about ever, or just of Spiral Knights? Have you never made a video at all? If you want tips on... You've never made a video at all, go and make something, is my tip there. It doesn't matter what, just go and make something. It's a very similar attitude towards video game design. Quite frankly, unless you're ridiculously exceptional and an astonishingly, amazingly talented person, there is a extremely likely chance, almost certain chance, that whatever you make is gonna suck. There's nothing personal, everybody does it. My first video sucks. It's, for whatever reason, it's still one of my most watched videos on my channel, probably just due to the fact that it's been around for the longest time, but Mistcraft with Meroka Episode 1 Waterworld is one of the most watched videos on my channels. It is cringeworthily bad? Am I making up words? I'm making up words. It's bad, it's terrible. I wouldn't recommend anybody watching it, but apparently a lot of people have watched that at this point. I wish they would stop watching it. I could just take the video down, I suppose, but I'm not going to do that. No, just make something. The only way you get better at doing what you do, or learning to do something, or starting out in doing something, is by making something. The Adventure Time quote, isn't it? Yeah, is, dude, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. And it's true. It is absolutely true. Sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. So just make something, and then don't stop once you made something. Once you made something, make another thing. Keep making things until you have made like 800 or 900 things, and you've been doing it for 2.5 years, and you've got 1,500 subscribers, and everybody keeps telling you to make more Spiral Knights content, in spite of the fact that you've done all the Spiral Knights content you can comfortably make in the world. But there you go, that's just the way the world works. Yeah. In regards to doing something specifically within Spiral Knights, I don't know. I don't have anything particularly interesting going on. I did this, but this is taking off Kurt J. Max Farlands or Bust format. A friend of mine, Mod1982, go check his channel out, also does a very similar kind of format within Euro Truck Simulator 2. So if you like this kind of sort of walk and talk, or indeed drive and talk kind of format, he does that in Euro Truck Simulator. He does some good stuff, so go check that out as well. I don't necessarily recommend this format unless you really want to just ramble about stuff at length on a regular basis. Some people do. It works for Kurt J. Mack, he makes interesting stuff. I quite enjoy doing this. Mod seems to enjoy doing it. It's a good format, but it's probably not for everybody. In terms of an actual Let's Play, I don't know, most people, I guess, just kind of go through the leveling curve, as it were, the mission system within Spiral Knights, and, I don't know, maybe put their own unique spin on it in some kind of way. Obviously, you got Latazan is doing his Maximus Efficiency. That's kind of an on-off kind of thing, where he's or was, or I don't know where he's at the minute, or certainly the point of that series was to try and get through the game without ever spending any money on anything, or working with any other accounts, just to try and get through the game as efficiently as possible from a completely, totally, 100% free-to-play perspective. That was a little bit of how I was playing mine, maybe not super efficiently, but I was trying to play with my Spiral Knights Reloaded series through completely free-to-play. That's really difficult, because it just gets really grindy. I don't know, if you can find some kind of spin to put on the mission system, sure. If you're really good at Lockdown, I'm sure there's an audience for Lockdown videos, I'm quite certain there is, so you could do that. I don't know, if you're just literally playing the game, don't know, be yourself, be entertaining, bring some friends, be entertaining as a group. You know, find what you like about other people's Let's Play stuff. Find, if you follow some Minecraft channels or whatever, just have a look at the stuff that you do watch. If you're wanting to do this, you're probably sort of invested in the format already. You probably subscribe to a bunch of channels, and there'll be things that you like and things that you don't like about other channels. Find out what you like and make the content that you would want to see, is what I think people should be doing on YouTube. And I'm doing this because this is the kind of content I want to see. I like this format. I like Mod doing it. I like Kurt J. Mack doing it. This is the kind of content I'm happy to see on YouTube, and I want to make more of it. So, I don't need to change anything here, do I? No, I know I don't. Yes, make what you want to see, and for the love of God, if you've never made anything before, just make something. If you want tips on actually getting started, a friend of mine, Wonderbot, runs a subreddit over on reddit.com, which is r/Let's Play. If you go check that one out, reddit.com/r/Let's Play, go to that. That's a good community for a lot of people who are sort of starting up, getting into sharing resources, sharing tips, sharing advice with each other, people getting into doing Let's Plays. So if you want help, there's a very friendly community over there that will be more than happy to help you get started. So go ask over there, go say, hey, what do I need to know before I do this? Like I say, I think most people just say, just make something. You're not going to be successful overnight. If you think you are, you're going about it the wrong way. Nobody's going to be successful about this overnight. All you can do is make stuff and keep making stuff and keep making stuff until you're good at making stuff, and you're making stuff that people want to see. It's going to be difficult. If you've not done much public speaking, it's going to be difficult to commentate at first. Chances are you'll and ah and you'll stutter, and whatever you have to say probably won't be terribly compelling. Like I say, go see my first stuff. I was awkward as all hell, most people are. It's good at learning to become decent at some kind of public speaking, certainly. If you want to develop that kind of skill, it's great. You will just become better at speaking, you'll become better presented, you'll be better at talking consistently. I'm still pretty bad at that, actually, to be fair, but hey, I ramble and I go all over the place and I go off topic and I change track mid-sentence. I know I do that. That annoys the hell out of me when I start talking about something and then I'll sort of veer off mid-sentence and I have no idea how anybody watches me, but yeah. Okay, you guys seem to dig it. That's fine. It's fine. Let's work together. Let's make content and watch content together. That's fine. We're a team, you and I. Viewer and content creator. That's what I call teamwork. If we can agree that I will make the stuff and you will watch it, that's a working relationship right there. I have missed a bit, so I'm going to have to backtrack a bit. Let's see if we can... Whoop, there we go. Dash across there. So yes, if you want to make content, just make content. Find whatever recording software works for you. OBS, Open Broadcaster Software, is a very popular free option for recording your content. As far as actually editing videos together, look, for your first video, just use Windows Movie Maker. There are a lot better options out there, but, you know, when you're getting started, just pick the free stuff, just get going with it. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be getting going as soon as possible. Have I... I haven't gone this way, that's right, okay. I was feeling like I was backtracking for no reason. No, okay, we're good, we're on track. So yes, OBS, Open Broadcaster Software, if you want something to capture video with, I would recommend that as a good starting point. I think personally, I would say there are better programs for capturing, but again, as a quick, basic, free one, just to get you up and running, go with that. If you want something to edit a video so that you can put in some titles, stitch bits together, or just generally compress it down into a better format, so it's a much smaller file as well, yeah, go with Windows Movie Maker just as a starter option. I mean, I think I had moved on to something else probably within the first 10 or 20 videos. It's like, okay, Windows Movie Maker is really basic, but just for getting you off the ground, just to get you moving, just onto the actual content production of things, just so you've got kind of a idea about the workflow, just use Windows Movie Maker. Again, if you go over to r/Let's Play, they will probably advise you as to what's the best option. I use Premiere. I wouldn't necessarily recommend Premiere as editing options for somebody who's brand new to doing this kind of thing. Aside from anything else, it's a fairly expensive option. I think I was discussing this with Alzarath earlier. He recommends Sony Movie Studio, which I think is about $50 as a kind of a reasonably decent entry-level kind of thing. That's fair enough. Each to their own, there's a few different options. Premiere is the industry standard for video editing. If you've got any desire to go kind of professional with any kind of video editing work, you're probably going to want to end up using Premiere sooner or later. But, yeah, like I say, we're still talking first video here. First video, not done it before, Windows Movie Maker. So Slimy Businessman says, have you heard of the new plastic-eating fungus? What do you think about this? How do you think we'll be using it in junkyards, etc.? What do you think of the idea of eating this fungus? Do you think the idea is weird? I think there are many things in this world are weird, and it's kind of a strange kind of concept, but I hadn't heard of this. I looked it up on Google. There's a few articles from around August, September time last year saying, hey, look at this cool new thing. It's going to change the world. And the thing to remember about any news article talking about anything scientific is they usually have no idea what they're talking about, broadly speaking. Most news articles were like, oh my god, this is going to change the world, everything's saved forever now. Yeah, they don't really know the science behind it. Chances are there's probably like 10 years or more of development and everything else behind that to go through before it gets anywhere near a viable product. As it is, basically we've got a fungus that's basically, it will live quite happily off polyurethane, which is one of the most commonly used plastics in the world, one of the most commonly disposed of plastics in the world. So you end up with quite a lot in oceans, in landfills, in a lot of places where you wouldn't want plastic, and it's kind of becoming a problem. We make a lot of that in the world, and we need to get rid of a lot of that. So we now have a mushroom, a fungus that will basically eat polyurethane. And this is, like I said, still research being done on it. It's like, oh, this looks like it has potential. It's not necessarily useful at this stage. There does seem to be some progress in that regard. It does seem like it could very well have some intriguing results, but I just wouldn't hold my breath on that one right now. Obviously, yeah, like I say, you got some massive pretty much, some people call them continents. Continents of plastic just floating in the middle of the oceans, which, if you've ever seen any pictures on that, that's goddamn terrifying, quite frankly, the amount of stuff that's in there. And yeah, we need ways to get rid of that. I don't know if the mushroom would be useful for that. You need to kind of find some way of making it work, basically aquatically, I suppose, is what it is. You need some way to be able to distribute that fungus in the oceans and have it spread throughout the oceans and eat the plastics as it goes, which would be a good way to do that. But I don't think that's how it works. At the minute, it's kind of they're growing little cultures of it and then feeding the plastic to it and making almost a farm out of it. This is as far as I can make out. So I suppose to clear up the oceans, you'd kind of then... Well, there's a new business opportunity there if anybody's got the equipment. Get yourself a fleet of trawlers, go through the middle of the ocean, trawl all the plastic out, get all the bits of polyurethane, and then sell them to people who have fungus farms. I think that's probably a business idea in the near future. I think that probably could easily become a thing if this mushroom thing takes off. I keep calling it mushrooms. They're not... Mushroom gives you this sort of mental picture of like a stalk and then a little kind of cap on it. It's, like I say, it's a fungus. It's not necessarily the stereotypical mushroom, but related, tangentially related. The same kind of category of things in the world. So the way they had them set up in the labs in the sort of the mini farm thing in the article that I read was they kind of had them growing in like a little bowl kind of shape. They kind of got agar, which is like a nutrient jelly kind of thing. That's if you've ever done biology lessons, you'll probably have worked with agar at some point. You get a petri dish and you put the agar in the bottom, and then you grow whatever bacteria or fungus or whatever you want in the bottom of the dish. And it's just sort of a nutrient jelly kind of thing that things will quite happily sit on and grow on and feed off of. And basically they're doing the same with that. So they kind of got a little agar solution in a little bowl, and they put the mushroom in there, and it just sort of grows in the bowl of jelly. And then presumably the idea is to make it edible, and they do believe it to be edible. The woman who's doing the experiments has apparently eaten some, and it's fairly flavorless, but apparently the agar can actually be flavored itself, which kind of seems weird. Like I say, you remember using that from your biology lessons. You're like, oh yeah, that's the nutrient jelly stuff. Oh, hang on, that was a thing up there, isn't there? I think I forget about this one on a number of occasions. Yep, free loot. So there's some stuff. Woo, stuff. So that one kind of strikes me as being a bit weird, eating the agar stuff, but they're like, oh yeah, you could flavour it with whatever. You could have chocolate agar, you could have fruit flavoured agar. It doesn't make any difference to the fungus just grows in it, and by the time it's done with the plastic, it's not like anything weird happens with plastic. It doesn't make anything toxic, and I think they're not quite sure the specifics of it yet, but basically the fungus will break down the polyurethane into completely non-toxic components, and ultimately it's, in theory, perfectly safe for human consumption, but I would wager there's probably a few years to go before we get that to become useful. Rather cool idea, though. I like it. I like it as an idea. It seems like it's a good solution to a lot of the world's problems. Because not only are you getting rid of toxic chemicals that are ruining the environment and becoming kind of a problem in a lot of places, you're also creating a potentially reasonably viable food source. So if you could have a business trawling the ocean and getting the plastic out, and then you could sell it to another company who will just turn that into food to be sold to areas which maybe need food. You get that stuff shipped out to Africa or wherever. Find areas that are sort of going hungry, and hey, mushrooms for dinner every day. Hope you like mushrooms. If you don't like mushrooms, well, we got a problem. But otherwise, yeah, food. So it solves kind of food crises as well as pollution crises, which is, it sounds good, but like I say, this is kind of, I'm still going by various news articles, and whenever you see scientific breakthroughs in news articles, it's always hopelessly optimistic. It's like, yes, this is going to be an amazing discovery, a breakthrough that's going to change the world. And chances are, I think the ultimate reality of it, if you're actually working in the field and knew the specifics, no, don't arise, god damn it, that was a really quick res on his part. They don't normally res that fast. You're gonna have to go for that one. So yeah, that's it. There may not be as wonderful a breakthrough as the news articles make out. I would take that with a pinch of salt, because these things often tend to be salt required in those kind of articles. But I like the sound of it. I will remain optimistic that that could be a useful and interesting technology for this world that we live in. It does sound good. In a sort of related fashion, I don't know how much time we're going to have to talk about this. I feel like I'm nearing the end here. Secret Boomkin says, what is your favorite type of science? Is it chemical science or electrical science to do with robots? What about biology? What's your favorite thing about science? I think if you haven't picked up on it at this point, it's sort of astronomy, astrophysics, space travel, that kind of engineering, anything to do with space, because I think it is the future, it is the direction our people, our humanity, our civilization will be heading in the next few centuries, to be honest. And again, I think I've quoted this before. I think there's an Isaac Asimov quote, which is, if humanity ever... I attribute a lot of stuff to Asimov, it might not be his, but if humanity ever wants to live forever, we need to get off of Earth. Which, I mean, in the near future, that would be sort of terraforming local planets, expanding to Mars, the Moon. NASA's currently talking about potentially funding missions to Europa, which is one of the moons of Jupiter, which is... it's mostly water with a frozen surface, and it's one of the most interesting... probably one of the most interesting non-Earth bodies within the solar system, I would say, to a lot of people. Could there be potential for putting humanity on that? I don't know, but I think, yes, that's a good thing. There is more to that question, but I guess I'll elaborate on that one a little more next time, although this has been a fairly short episode, but there you go. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Meroka. This has been Spiral Spiel. If you have questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments below. I'll finish up with Sacred Boomkin's question, going into that in a little bit more detail next week, I think. But yes, more questions always appreciated. If you've got them, leave them in the comments below, and I will get to them in the near future, and I'll give you a little bit of a shout out when I do. Also, whilst you're hanging around at the end of the video here, don't forget to check out my Patreon campaign in the outro in just a hot second. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I've been Meroka. This has been Spiral Spiel. I'll see you next time.